So apparently the key to success in the sporting world is for Brandon and I to just like take 2 or 3 weeks off because it seems like every time we do that, everything happens. Like this time, we tried the podcast. It just something popped up for both of us every single time and it didn't work. But yeah, the lockout's done. The trade deadline is hit. Everybody in the NFL signed. Guys got traded. I'm sure stuff happened in soccer that I don't know about. Basketball was being played. The Lakers fell off the face of the earth. It was an eventful 3 weeks, whatever we've been gone. So we're going to talk about a lot. Sorry. First of all, the Jays are back.
I like the apology in advance.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lengthy one. I think
as we start this one
to talk about.
As we start this one, we apologize.
Yeah. The Jays are back. If you couldn't tell by my hat and my decor that I always have. Yeah, we're back, and I am super pumped, man. They're not even missing games. I think the last time we talked, Rob Manfred had said like, "Oh no, we didn't even get to that yet." Manfred had said they're going to miss the first 2 weeks, which is like 14 games. They're just going to cut the season down. They're just going to cancel those games. They're not going to be made up. And then it turns out that his deadline was made up. And the next day he's just like, well, maybe if we just like get it done by this day. And they didn't get it done by that day either. And he's like, okay, well, maybe if we do it today. And I'm like, man, if university had those deadlines the way Rob Manfred did, I would have been a fucking 90s student, man. Like, just like, you know what? Just push it down the road. It's okay. Don't worry about it. You can get it done later.
It was so empty from the start. You can just tell nobody even flinched.
They're like, okay. Yeah, they're like, yeah, sure, Rob.
We're gonna lose games. Good business decision.
It's worse on you than it is on me as a player. Like, you're the idiot losing money. I'm just here. It was funny. The whole situation was a mess, but they got it sorted out. And I appreciate the owners coming down and actually negotiating. And the players finally kind of caved a little bit. Like, they were hard headed the entire time, like weren't moving at all. And then they finally kind of came down. It'd still be going. Like,
no, like, do you know how long the agreement is now for? Like, is this just like a band-aid?
They're usually like 4 or 5 years. I don't really know. Honestly, I'm very confused on CBA negotiations in sports in general. I think there's a set time for it. I think it's 4 or 5 years because that's usually what it is. But I personally just don't know. But yeah, so they're agreed upon, and it was.
You know what, they're gonna play baseball, and none of what they talked about is gonna be shown on the field, and it's gonna be great. You know,
exactly.
Like, maybe what is it? The defensive shifts, was that still a point of contention?
That's next year. So they're putting that in. They're getting rid of it next year.
Right.
There's a universal DH this year, which helped a lot of guys actually. Like the market for Kyle Schwarber went way up. The ability for the Dodgers to give Freddie Freeman that 6th year was paramount because of this universal DH. Because you know what? Freddie Freeman is 31, 32 years old, whatever he is. In 6 years, I don't know if he'll be able to hold up for 162 at first base. But with the DH spot, you don't really care.
What's nice to keep is a bat in the lineup still.
Exactly.
Like, we've said that on days where, we thought that Vlad was having a day off.
Break.
Simeon, yeah, anybody who was actually taking a day off, they just could still put their bat in there, right? In the lineup. So we love that. And now you're going to be seeing it for 162 games, which is
across both leagues. It's great. Yep. I think it's a great rule change. I like pitchers hitting, like it's kind of cool, but it's not cool enough that I need to have.
But the ones that can hit, you can still put in, right? Otani's kind of shown that. Like, if you're going to be a hitter, then here's the DH position.
Yep. There's not any pitchers out there that are good enough to like be in a lineup. Like, they're not taking the spot over the first guy on your bench in any team. Like, maybe DeGrom, but like I'm not willing to throw DeGrom as a DH with his health issues.
Zach Greinke in Kansas City, absolutely.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
that team just doesn't care. They'll throw whatever they can at you.
They'll just do whatever they want.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, and it was kind of funny coming out of the lockout because it was just like, oh, this is going to be the craziest couple days of free agency ever seen, and like 2 people signed. It was like, this is crazy. What a wild 2 days this has been, and it's like no one was signing. I'm like, we didn't see Correa go until like 2 days ago. We didn't see Freeman go until like 3 days ago. It's
Chris
just
Bryant was recently.
Chris Bryant, Trevor Story went today.
Yep.
Like, it was funny because it was hyped up as this like, oh, we're gonna get so many deals, we're gonna see so many guys go, it's gonna be crazy.
There was
so
another
baseball.
Another outfielder that signed in Philly.
Castellanos went.
Yeah, Castellanos went there. So like
it was funny. Just bottom line, it was like, this is gonna be a wild 2 days. Everyone's gonna be signing, and
but everybody still waited. Yeah, they were kind of. It's almost a way of baseball, They wait each other to see who makes what.
Yeah, so. And it was an interesting couple of days because the Jays were all in on Freddie Freeman at one point, and which was exactly what we wanted. We talked about it for weeks.
Your most intriguing signing, like the one that you kind of caught your attention.
It's between Chris Bryant and Carlos Correa. Like
a lot of people say the Chris Bryant one. I kind of understand it. If you're the Rockies, you need to put butts in seats, but you need to put something in the team.
You got to have something there.
Yeah, if he's there for 5 years and you can turn it around in 1 to 2, like Colorado is a very favorable hitter's ballpark.
Yeah,
like if you're a pitcher,
who puts butts in seats? Nolan Arenado.
Oh, I bet.
And Trevor Story. And they gave them up for nothing.
I'm well aware of
they didn't even qualify Trevor Story.
I'm well aware of the decisions. But you know what? That kind of reminds me of like a signing of Russell Westbrook. Like, why do you bring Westbrook in? It's not to win. It's a name. You're bringing the name.
I get that. But those two were names. Those two would help you win.
I looked at who else was on that roster, and I don't think Charlie Blackmon, I think, was one of the only few names I could name with confidence.
Ryan McMahon is a decent little piece there. He's good. He's not great. He's not a guy that pushes the needle very much, but he is a good
piece. But when you're on a bad team and you're being called a decent little piece.
Yeah. Herman Marquez is he's a great pitcher. He's going to be going somewhere at the deadline because there's no way in hell this team is competing. But what a strange deal. And like it's strange for Bryant too, because like Correa, at least he has opt-outs after year 1 and 2. So he's not going to be there after this year. This was a deal that like Boris put it together because he's not getting anything from this one because Correa switched agents. I believe it was in the middle of the lockout, but he switched agents. So that old agent is going to get any deal that gets signed. So Boris puts this deal together so that this agent gets a chunk of the first 40 million or 35 million or whatever he gets. And then he can opt out and Boris can get his 8-year deal or 10-year deal or whatever it is. And then Boris gets money out of it, which I think is brilliant as his agent. Like I hate Boris with a passion, but like if I'm an agent, that's the move I'm making all the time. Like fuck that last guy. I want the big payday from this big client.
He's an absolute, absolutely. Yeah,
brilliant. Scumbag, but brilliant.
He looks after himself for sure.
Absolutely. He's really good at it too. So yeah, that one just like that makes a little more sense though, because Correa can opt out. He won't be in Minnesota long. I don't see it.
No, and I said like if you can secure money and then be traded, then that's something, right? Like he's now on a team that is one of those teams that kind of always signs a name or two and maybe competes and maybe doesn't. They have an up year, they have a down year, and that's where he'll be there. But he's gonna make a crap ton of money. Mm-hmm. And he'll probably be a Dodger in half a season,
Sure. I could see him getting moved at the deadline. But like the Twins might compete. I don't like at first I saw no clue what the fucking Twins were doing. Like they made that trade. They traded the Garver for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa in Texas, which I'm like, I don't know. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm like, I thought Garver was better than IKF, but whatever. They brought him in, but then they instantly flipped him and Josh Donaldson to the Yankees for Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela. I'm like, you're saving money there, but the deal didn't make any sense to me because it seemed like you got worse at both positions.
Yeah, they're just, I don't know. I guess with one move, with Josh Donaldson, you're getting away from injuries. Mm-hmm. You're getting away from. I don't think he was a problem though. He's never really a problem. He may be outspoken, but I don't believe that's a problem.
No, he was good. His only issue was the injuries, and like for the most part, it's only been like a year that he was injured.
Sanchez is just I don't see anything. I think his ceiling is medium.
Yeah, great power hitter, incredible power hitter. He'd be a phenomenal DH, but like he's a terrible back catcher. Like
defensively, he just is not there. He's sitting in the stands. He's thinking about the popcorn that's coming down.
Honestly, it's ugly.
It's bad. It's real bad.
But I don't think he's Mitch Garver personally. Mitch Garver had an off year last year. I think Mitch Garver is better than what he was, but I think Gary Sanchez is what he is, and you've seen what he is. Like he's going to strike out a lot. He's going to hit 30 home runs, and he's not going to hit anything else. And he's not going to catch anything behind the dish. I'll promise you that much. He missed a tag at home plate where Buddy was like fucking 30 feet away. Like he waited and then still missed him.
That's what I mean. Like it was. absolutely incredible how he
He's
doesn't pay attention back there. That's somebody that is realistically in controlling the game too. That's the most important plate to protect.
Garrett Cole despised the man. Like, that should say something.
Yeah. It's interesting to say the least, but I think for going back to Correa, you get what you can, and that's it. If they want to move you, they move you. So
they kind of made all those moves and then left this hole at shortstop, and I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. And then they bring in Correa, and I'm like, okay, well, now you're more of a contender, especially in that division where it could go to anybody. I mean, Houston has it probably locked up, but you're going to contend in that division because it's not that great. So you bring in Sonny Gray too.
Right.
Which is the first move was Sonny Gray, and that blew my mind because Jose Barrios is twice the pitcher Sonny Gray is.
And they signed Dylan Bundy as well. They kind of went more quantity over quality, I would say, in that sense. Like they have names. They've got, I feel like reminiscent of the Jays at some point where it was like names that are in, and you're hoping they do a lot better than anybody else expects them to do.
Exactly. If they all play up to their potential, then you're probably going to be a decent team. But you just don't know. There's so many. What the hell is Gio Urshela anymore? He wasn't great last year, but he can be. Gary Sanchez, we've already talked about. Correa is going to be good. I don't doubt that Carlos Correa is going to be good. I'm so happy he's not in our division or on our team because I can't stand the man. But
now they do
he's going to be good.
Now Austin Martin could also be.
He could come up
a valuable piece.
He could come,
but even behind Correa, right? That gives you now an extra piece there. Polanco.
He could play two. Yeah. He could play center when Byron Buxton gets hurt inevitably in the first month.
Byron Buxton, you hope, is still going to continue his upward trend, right?
If Byron Buxton can stay healthy, this team is legit. Byron Buxton's a legitimate player in this league when he's healthy. It's just he's never healthy. And then you get Correa, who honestly he's never really had injury issues, so he should be fine there. Gio's the same way. They're a bunch of solid guys when they're healthy. They just got to stay healthy.
Can we talk about the team that matters now?
The San Francisco.
Can we talk about the? Absolutely. No. Does anyone know what they've done?
Yeah, they signed someone early on, but it was so early that I forget who it was. Oh, right. You know what? It was Carlos Rodon, and I wanted Carlos Rodon, but I forgot who.
Can we talk about the real team?
The New York Yankees.
Yeah, Josh Donaldson, perfect.
The Yankees went from getting everybody. They were like, oh, we're getting Freeman and Correa. And we're gonna run the league, and then they got Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and Josh Donaldson,
and they kept Rizzo pending a physical. It was very underwhelming,
What an offseason! Good job, gentlemen.
Yeah,
yeah. No, we can get to the team that matters
because they're exciting.
Oh my god! Do you want to go in order? Because we'll just go in order. Because why not?
If you have the order.
It was Andrew Vasquez, I think his name was the first one that dropped. And that was oh, you know what? No, even before that, Greg Bird. Greg Bird signed the day of the lockout to a minor league deal. I mean, hey, it is what it is. We don't need to talk about Greg Bird. Did we already talk about Joe Biagini, though?
I don't think so.
Joe Biagini's back.
Yep.
I don't know if he makes the team. He's not
He'll
never
make the team.
Anymore.
No,
but
he was just a face at the time. He was a character.
It brought a smile to my face, which is all you really need to do with minor league deals. And that was fun. I appreciate Joe being around the team. And then Andrew Vasquez.
It was the same as Kawasaki, when he was here.
Not great, but really fun.
And had some moments. Yeah,
exactly. Great interviews. That was
we're not serious. We were not a serious team. Now we are.
Yeah. So. Andrew Vasquez. I believe it's Andrew. I could be butchering his name, but he signed, and that is such a strange deal because I don't know, he's never really been a major leaguer, but we have Pete Walker who may be able to fix this kid, and he's got devastating breaking stuff. He just has trouble finding the zone, and he gets hit around a bit. So maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. Basically, he's your 7-8 guy in the bullpen. He doesn't really matter, but he's a lefty, which you need another lefty because your only one right now is Tim Meza.
It's another arm, and I think Pete Walker, you have a lot of faith in him as a coach, especially at this point. Mm-hmm. You hope that what you've seen in the kid, if it's a control thing, that's maybe something
they could figure it out.
Specializes in, a
couple mechanical tweaks here and there, and
I'm not too worried on the gamble pieces.
No, it should be okay.
It's important to have a different look out there at the plate.
And then sticking to gambling pieces, they brought in Yusei Kikuchi, who was an all-star in the first half of last year and then an all shit in the second half of last year. He's throwing 100 miles an hour in camp already, which is just bonkers.
And he's a lefty, is he not?
He's a righty. So it's okay. It's like it's basically like bringing in a right-handed Robbie Ray. Is very similar to what the situation is. Because same issue.
No, he's a lefty.
Is he a lefty? Okay, then it's literally bringing in an Asian Robbie Ray. Yeah. Because he throws gas, which Robbie obviously did, and he has zero control, and he walks a lot of guys. But when he's on, he's phenomenal. So I think the Jays look at Yusei Kikuchi as a guy that you can hand to Pete Walker and say, please help. And maybe he turns him in. He won't turn him into a Cy Young candidate. That was fucking a miracle. But he could turn it. He's a 5-starter for you right now. All he needs to do is be okay.
Yeah, he's a lot better than Steven Matz. He's a lot more trusting than a lot of other guys that could have been there. So yeah. I absolutely don't mind this at all.
I think it's a great deal. I don't hate bringing in Yusei Kikuchi at all. I don't think it's like the be all end all moves where you're like, yeah, Yusei Kikuchi, but like, hey, that's a good project piece that could work out very well for the Toronto Blue Jays.
And like they didn't even really overpay for him because Seattle was going to offer him, I think his
qualifying offer was 13,
right? And they paid 3 years, 13 $1 a year.
Yeah, so it's
or maybe just a little. Sorry, just
I think it's like 12 and a half.
Yeah, 12 and a half. Okay,
so
but either way,
they just added on 2 years. Is all
right.
It was,
so pretty well 13 million a year, which is totally cool for.
Yeah,
that's about. I'm all in. If he's throwing 100, I didn't even know he's throwing 100.
No. That's fucking apparently his bullpens he was touching 100, which is insane.
But we don't even need that.
He was he tops out at like 97, 98 in the majors, which is as fucking good as it is. But like if you're hitting triple digits as a starter, like that you're gonna get guys out if you can hit the strikes.
Yeah, that's what put it anyway. Dude. Yeah, I'm looking back here. You know, he's got some AK games.
Yeah, he dominated the Jays.
He's got some 70 games. You know,
dominated us. So like, hey, he's a guy you're hoping works out. He's your Steven Matz of this year. Realistically, the rotation is about as good as it was to end last year when they were just crushing every single game. Like you replace Robbie Ray with Kevin Gausman. I would argue that's like an equal move. It's the same player to me. Perfect. You get Jose Barrios after the mechanical adjustments was fucking dominant.
I'm almost hoping that it's actually more of him who's replacing Robbie Ray.
Yeah.
And KG can come in as our 2 and lock that. I almost think that he's more valuable at the 2 because you know what we had last year was dangerous at the end.
Yep. Yeah.
Like they had guys that were figuring it out. It's just
whatever way you swing it, it's going to be interesting because they're 2 different pitchers. They throw different stuff, so you kind of get like you get that wipeout slider curve, whatever the hell it is, coming out of Barrios's hand, and then you get the splitter that breaks a completely different way with Gausman. Like it's going to be very interesting to see to have to face them back to back, and then you bring in Alek Manoah as the 3 spot, who's just like gamer, fucking he'll throw at you. It's fun. You're not comfortable in the box.
And now Ryu is a 4th where we realistically expect him to be at this point in his contract and at this point in the team, right? This is like kind of in line with what they said, like 3-4.
This man was a Cy Young candidate a year ago, like a year prior to last year. He was a Cy Young candidate. Now he's your 4-star. It's pretty gross. I don't dislike that. And then you get Kikuchi, who like, hey, maybe he hasn't, maybe he doesn't, but he's your 5-starter. Who fucking cares? It's a great risk.
I'm still afraid. If I'm any other team, I know that, you know, Boston has some things some of the time, but the Jays have now kind of gotten to all their needs. And they even said that too, right? Like we did know they were out of the Freeman race realistically before Freeman signed because Atkins came out and said, like, you know, we're really happy with where the team's at. We're really confident that we've done what we needed to do to put ourselves in a position to win, at least for the start of the season.
Yeah. Once they brought in Matt Chapman, the Freeman train was done. Like I would have, they could have done it. They could have absolutely brought Freeman in and said, hey, you and Vlad are going to split time at first and play DH. But it just didn't make sense anymore.
Why is it always the Oakland A's that I love?
Oh my God.
Traded to them.
Thank you. And like, yeah, they gave up a little bit. The Gunnar Hoagland is a very intriguing piece. But that's all he is right now, is an intriguing piece because he should have went higher than he did in the draft, but he got Tommy John. So he dropped. And then Kevin Smith, man, I like Kevin Smith, the person. He's a great guy, but where the hell is he going to play for this team?
I just think that if it gives us a win now piece, I'm in. This is exactly what we've been looking for out of any Toronto team, right? Yep. The Raptors did it. Win. The Raptors did it to the biggest example, right? When they pushed in for Kawhi, they knew 1 year instead of multiple years with DeRozan, and we're giving up a first round pick because we know we're going to be late.
Yeah.
In the draft. Like, that's how confident we are we're going to win.
Yep.
And you're doing the same thing, right? We understand that the future will be mortgaged. Yep. The future will be rough if this falls apart fast, but we don't expect it to. The future is also here now.
I was going to say, I've had a couple of people be like, oh, well, you're giving up a lot. Even in a Jose Ramirez deal, it's like, you can't give up that many prospects. It's like, you absolutely can, because your prospects are currently playing on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Like your shortstop spot is locked up for a while if you sign that deal. First base, second base, any of the outfield spots.
What these prospects are showing now are that people are willing to trade for the Toronto farm system. They like what they see, right? We're not getting these nobody names. We're getting legitimate trades that are obviously getting you in arguments, because they're so like, what about this prospect? What about this prospect? But it's like, what about the player that we're getting?
Yeah, exactly.
We've always said third base is a real question mark. We need somebody to hold it down, and now we have like another platinum glove.
Not just
platinum.
He's like glove. Arguably, I don't even know if it's arguably, he's the best defender in baseball.
He just makes it look so easy.
It's unbelievable, and he's
so
healthy
confident.
Now, which is unbelievable. I'm so excited for Matt Chapman to come in here.
It's a different feel in Toronto right now. I think it's going to be a different feel in that clubhouse than in Oakland. It'll be a completely different team.
I'm so excited to see what he can come in here and help Bo with, for starters. Like, what that's going to do to Bo Bichette's defensive game is just through the roof. And then I'm excited to see if he can hit in these AL East parks. Like, this isn't Oakland where you have to hit it a country mile to get it out of the yard. Like, we're talking about Fenway, where it's like 15 feet to the wall. Like,
and just even be a smooth hitter,
Yeah, I'm so excited.
260. I'm really content.
He doesn't need to hit a home run his entire career in Toronto, and he will already be an improvement over what we had last year.
Yeah.
Just by the fact that he's not making 400 errors at third. Like, the Jays saw more ground balls to third than any other team in the major leagues last year, and they made errors on a lot of them.
And they were able to get a piece without giving away what they have now, right? That's the point of it, is that we
not really a single roster player went the other way.
Really enjoy what's on the roster, and I think that's where everybody needs to kind of just say, okay, we're getting a roster player for non-roster players.
You didn't deplete your lineup, and you added to it. That's incredible.
And I'm all for it. I'll be all for it every single day of the week.
Now, I'm hoping that if they do make Jose Ramirez deal, that's what they do again, because I like, everyone's talking like, oh, Lourdes or Cavan can go. I don't want Lourdes or Cavan to go. I think they both serve a purpose on this roster that, like, you can't really measure. Sorry. And I would hand over 5 prospects before I hand over roster players. Everyone's like, oh, Gabriel Moreno and Aurelvis Martinez are untouchable, and I don't agree with that whatsoever. I think Gabriel Moreno is could be a phenomenal back catcher. But there's a very big could be in any prospect, no matter who it is. You're not guaranteed to see this kid come up and be the next Yogi Berra. Like, he's not going to be that. You don't know that.
It also doesn't fit the way they've done business to this point. They've done business a very strategic way of, we're going to trust our drafting process. And because you cannot trade draft picks, we will trade players, and we will make these players enticing to other teams and satisfy needs of them. And that's something that the Jays really lacked, I think, especially the beginning of when I became a fan. Yeah. Right? They kind of signed names, and they were able to get players like in the middle ground, but they were getting players who couldn't carry this team to where these guys are carrying it now, right? You're keeping the right prospects, and you're shipping out the other ones.
Yep.
Right. Like, now we love Bo where Bo is. So anybody else after that, unfortunately, you're
not coming up and taking out Bo. Like, that's the thing with Aurelvis. I like Aurelvis. He had that home run yesterday. It was unbelievable at bat. Looked great. Where do you play Aurelvis Martinez right now? And especially if you're going to bring in Jose Ramirez.
They want to play 162. They're not interested in half a season. They're not interested in 100 games. They're interested in every single game being out there now, and they think they're fit for it. So
you're not bringing up a 20-something-year-old kid to be your DH either. So he's not going to play third because Matt Chapman's there, so he's 2 years away. He's not going to play short because Bo's there, so he's just never coming up for that. And if you bring in Jose Ramirez and you happen to re-sign him, he's never going to come up and play two. So why are we hanging on to a Relvis Martinez? I think he's going to be a phenomenal player, and I think he's going to help a team. Unfortunately, he's blocked. It's the same thing with Kevin Smith. He wasn't going to play anywhere for this team. So you might as well get rid of him in that Matt Chapman deal because he's not going to play for this team. I think Jordan Groshans is in the exact same boat. He can't play short because Bo's there, and he's not going to play third in the next 2 years because Matt Chapman's there. If someone gets injured, yeah, you're going to need a guy like that. But you can sign a guy like that. You can trade for a guy like that. You don't need to bring up this 20-something-year-old kid to come and fill that position. So if the option is Martinez or Moreno, you have guys at that spot that are already blocking them out. Ship them out.
It's also tough for me if he doesn't know second. You don't want to have a project in the middle when you're trying to string together wins. And you're past that. You need players that are locked down in where they are. Right. That's why I think they flirted with the idea of Freddie Freeman. But they understood that moving somebody over to third would be another project. So they went
flat at third was going to be an interesting time.
So they completely shut it down by saying, you know what? No, we have our everyday third baseman, and this guy is going to play ridiculous. And nobody in the Toronto market said that this is a horrible trade. Nobody said that they didn't like it.
Phenomenal.
And that, I think, says something right there, right?
I saw one guy he got roasted for it too. Like it was a very deserved roast because he said you're bringing in a guy with a low average like Matt Chapman for a top prospect like Gunnar Hoagland. I'm like, you don't have a fucking clue what Gunnar Hoagland is. Nobody as a Blue Jays fan has watched Gunnar Hoagland pitch a single inning.
Prospect to me.
I don't care about Gunnar Hoagland right now. Like, who cares?
You know what I forget about in a year or two is
Gunnar Hoagland.
Who drafted a certain player, right? Yeah.
There's so many. There's like 40 rounds of MLB draft.
Exactly. MLB is a place that you can, for sure, get, cut ties with players and sign different players. The NFL is another place you can do so and still get away with it, right?
It's fun.
There's sports that you're able to do that, and it's crazy how attached we are to things we've never seen.
Do you know how rare it is for baseball prospects to hit? Like, they don't. Like, there's not a lot of times that everybody in the first round is going to come up and be exactly what you thought they were going to be. It doesn't happen.
You have a proven player.
Yeah,
I'm in.
That's it. Done. If you can give up a prospect or a couple of prospects for one All-Star, I'm taking the one All-Star.
And guess what? He's 28 years old.
He's still not that old.
You're going to get him till he's 30, 31 maybe.
You already have him till 30, and if you want, you can extend him. Exactly. I don't think they do, but you could. Same with Ramirez if you bring him in. Hey, Gabriel Moreno could go down as the best catcher of all time. Sure, it's possible. I don't think it's likely, but it's possible. But he's not going to be that right now.
No.
Relvis Martinez could be the next Derek Jeter. Sure. It doesn't mean he is that right now or that's what he's ever going to be. If you have the two of them, you can get rid of them for one of the top 5 baseball players in the game. You do it. Plain and simple.
There's a higher likelihood of Matt Chapman being what we need now than not what we need, than those guys being what we need now.
Same with Jose Ramirez.
They're how many years away? Exactly. This fills the need. And now you have more of a draw for people wanting to come here. Right now, Jose Ramirez is on the table.
If you hang on to these prospects, you can be this good for the rest of your next 8 years. If you bring in both Matt Chapman, 8 years. 8 years,
we will be 8 years of doing
8 years of good or great. Could be great. Definitely going to be a playoff team, I think. But if you trade those prospects and you bring in Matt Chapman and Jose Ramirez, you are arguably the World Series favorite. I don't know if it's arguably. I think you're probably the World Series favorite.
And you get 2 runs at it.
And you get a couple cracks at it. And you can have more if you extend them.
Right.
I don't see. What are we playing for? Bottom line is, what are we playing for?
Exactly. If you're not in it to win it, then what are you here for?
What are we here for? Look at the Leafs, man. They've been a playoff team for 6-7 years. and everyone hates them because all they do is make the playoffs. They don't win, that they make the playoffs. They're good in the regular season and they don't win in the playoffs. Do you want to be that team, or do you want to be the team that wins the World Series? Do you want to be the San Francisco Giants of the early 2000s?
Do you want to be a team that makes money? Do you want to be a team that makes dreams come true?
We want to be the team that makes dreams come true.
Because there's a soul crusher. Yes, that's what's exciting.
I want to see this moment. I want to hang one of these pictures of the 2022 Toronto Blue Jays, not the 92 Toronto Blue Jays. Like, that's so old. Actually, that's 93. So old. Right. Like, we need a new one.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah.
As a 94, you know who's born in 93? Matt Chapman.
Yeah. So he's never seen this. Matt Chapman's born in 93. Yeah. Wow. Matt Chapman's only 3 years older than I am. We're talking about him like he's on the back half.
That's what I mean. No, he's not, though. That's what I'm saying. He's not. Because there's this ridiculous expectation that at 20, 21, 22, you are what you
need to
are.
Be great. Yeah.
You know, you are what you are right then and there. And okay, if you want to go by that motto, then giving up these prospects are not that bad, because realistically, what you see is what you're getting.
It is what it is. Okay, these guys are what they are. They're done. Exactly. This is their peak.
This is the best they're ever gonna be.
Vladdy's already peaked.
Right. So it's ridiculous. He's 28 years old.
It's just he's gonna be great. Did you see Vlad's home run?
I did finally, yeah.
He hit it and I just laughed. I couldn't do anything but laugh. I was sitting there just dying. Like, he hit every stitch of that ball.
How many steroid tests do you think he's gonna get?
He's gonna get the fucking Myles Garrett treatment. But oh my God, just tattooed that thing. And I'm like, this is my MVP. Don't even play the season. He's the MVP. I don't care. I don't care if Babe Ruth is playing. He's the MVP. Oh, just unbelievable. He's gonna hit 70. I'm so excited.
I don't care if the kids in Sandlot form a team. I have one MVP.
I don't care if you bring back a reincarnate of Joe DiMaggio and Randy Johnson. He's not better than Vlad.
Oh man, Randy Johnson. He's like probably low-key my favorite player.
He's not Vlad.
Man hit a bird.
He did hit a bird.
He killed the bird.
He doesn't look like Vlad.
He killed a bird on television.
He never brought me happiness the way Vladimir Guerrero Jr. brings me happiness.
Really?
Yeah, no.
His nickname was the Big Unit. That doesn't bring you happiness.
Vlad is a big unit. Look at him.
Look, Vlad makes me real excited for what this team can do, but
Johnson. He's not even my favorite Blue Jay, but he brings me more happiness than anyone else in my entire life.
Who's your favorite Blue Jay?
It's Kevin Biggio, which is weird. I'm like different though. The thing with Kevin, it's not like, I don't think Kevin's as bad as people think he is. Obviously, I think he's a lot better than people give him credit for, but I don't think he's this be all end all baseball player. I just love, I played baseball the same way that Kevin does. Like you just give it your all, play every position they need you to do. Just go out there and do what you can for the team. Like, he's this, just every team on guy. Any given day, he play a different position. Right. And that's what I did growing up, is just like, hey, you play wherever we need you and go out there, do a job, hit for some power, see a lot of pitches, like, do your job. That's I really like Kevin for that.
I'm in support of you.
I like Kevin. I like Bo. I love Lourdes. I think Lourdes is the most underrated player on this team, just like for what he brings in the dugout and in the clubhouse and on the field, obviously, because he rakes when he needs to. But like, he's just such an irreplaceable piece in that clubhouse that you don't really see it until you look at the way guys interact with him, and you're like, this guy is loved in that clubhouse.
I think I'd still be sad to see Grichuk go as well, because he's never really done anything wrong except be Randall Grichuk.
He's just that is so frustratingly inconsistent.
He came just after Colby Rasmus. From the St. Louis Cardinals, and he left a real sour taste in Blue Jays' mouth.
He's just never been good.
No, he's just kind of been,
and he's getting paid too much average. To never be great.
Right, but it doesn't stop you from making deals right now, which is good.
No, yeah, it's not that much money. It's only like 10 million or something.
Right,
like that. Like,
and he's close to the end, right? Like, there's no way that it's much further.
If Randall Grichuk is your fourth outfielder, it's really not that big a deal. I don't think he's that bad. Like, you don't need your fourth outfielder to be like Barry Bonds. He's just got to show up and just exist. Play decent outfield, which he very clearly does, and like
you don't
hit
want
for
him
some
to
pop.
be Joey. You don't want him to be Joey Gallo, like
No, God. I thought of Joey Gallo. I don't dislike having Randall Grichuk on the team.
No, I do enjoy.
I think the guys like him too. Like everyone rags on Randall Grichuk, but like it seems like the players really like him. Which that's all you need. Like
they all like each other, which is great.
Yeah,
They've all bought in.
It doesn't really seem like there's anyone that doesn't get along in this group, which I think is fantastic. That's the key to success, realistic.
And I think that goes even to the fans, right? We were sad to see pretty well everybody get shipped out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, anybody that left, we were kind of like, okay, maybe not Steven Matz, but either way.
I wouldn't have hated having Steven Matz come back either, though. Like it's
Brad Hand.
We'll say Brad Hand. Brad Hand was gone before last year even ended, so that's fine.
Brad Hand was a hike, but
Brad Hand is the guy that goes. Yeah, no, I think it was good. I think they're going to be great this year. They're definitely going to be a playoff team. I don't see a world where this team isn't in the playoffs. With 12 teams, I don't see a world where they don't make the playoffs. You can't tell me there's 12 teams in this league that are better than the Toronto Blue Jays.
And this is honestly, I think the year they just make that exclamation point that they are the best team, and they do, they win all the series against the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Rays. Like, you know what? We're gonna beat that Orioles curse of always kind of struggling to them in games.
I think we got better, and everybody else in the AL East got worse.
It just did very average things. I'm not afraid of seeing Josh Donaldson more often than we did before, because realistically, you probably won't, depending on where he is health-wise, and depending on where that team goes.
Yeah, he probably won't play. You're right.
I don't know how much he's going to play. Like you're banking on a lot, and I'm
not scared of it.
I always hesitate on banking on someone's health when they haven't been consistently healthy. If he drinks some different water in New York, by all means,
maybe
you find the fountain of youth, and you're back to the MVP guy.
Yeah,
right,
great.
But now
that's such a big if.
And they just jump back. He jumps back into the division, and Matt Chapman comes in, and now already the comparisons right away. Hey, remember when Oakland traded us a third baseman?
Yeah. Yes. I'm not scared. I don't fear the Yankees this year. I don't fear the Yankees.
I don't fear the Red Sox. I don't even fear the Rays.
A little bit. There's a little bit of fear in the Rays because the Rays always have our number. Even when they were bad, they had our number. So it's just one of those things, but I don't fear the Rays in the standings, if that makes any sense. Like I don't know. They didn't get better. I don't think they got worse, but they might have got worse. They got rid of a couple guys too. They got rid of like Joey Wendell's gone. Really? I don't know who starts for their team pitching wise because Glasnow's out. All the guys they brought in last year are gone.
Corey Kluber,
you're really relying on Corey Kluber to be your guy. Like that's,
to be honest with you, Ryan Yarbrough.
Sure. Yarbrough gave us fits all the time.
Yeah, they do it the Rays way where they have.
Hey, they're gonna win 100 games. Like it's just stupid. That team doesn't have to be good to win 100 games. I don't get it.
Mike Zunino, you're relying on a lot again
to be good again, which is I don't know. That's
They do have Wander Franco.
Wander Franco is gonna. He's in his first full year in the majors now too, so that'll be a good piece for them. But outside of that, I'm not that scared of them. They're not. They're not the Rays of the past, but they're going to go out and win 95 to 100 games. Like they are what they are. I don't understand the Rays. They don't make any sense.
I'm saying no. I'm going to say no.
And on paper, they stink. But in reality, they're actually, you know what? Shane Baz and Shane McClanahan are really good.
Right.
Those two could come in and be really good pitchers for the Rays. So they're going to have those. They're both going to compete for the AL Cy Young together, which is just ouch. And they're both going to be aces, and that's what's going to kill us. And that's how the Rays are going to make the playoffs. With 98 wins. I promise.
You heard it here first. I think it's going to be a complete and total upset. I think that the Jays are going to come in and just bully everybody around, and it's going to be amazing to watch.
All right, cool. Did we miss anything? Freddie Freeman on the Dodgers. The Dodgers is going to be just a good clown show. This is hilarious. They're going to win 130 games.
They always do this.
The Padres, the Padres Luke Voit trade was phenomenal.
It's very under the radar. Yankees fans are kind of happy about that, which is weird.
Some of them are pretty pissed, but like,
really?
Yeah, I would be, man.
I saw a good portion that were kind of like, they're Yankee. I don't know.
You never know with the Yankees fans. They're a nightmare. I'd be pissed if I was them. Like I understand that this kid's a decent pitching prospect, but again, you don't know what he's going to be. You know what Luke Voigt is, and that guy mashes when he's healthy. Mashes. I would have loved to see him as our DH.
Oh. You needed something too.
Yeah, that's weird.
So when the Dodgers get Freddie Freeman.
Fernando Tatis got hurt again. And yeah, the injury sucked. The weirdest part about the whole thing was when they're like, someone asked him a question about his motorcycle accident, and he came back with which one.
I'm gonna say that guy shouldn't be driving.
Yikes
anymore. Yeah.
That is the most exciting name in baseball, and he's been in multiple motorcycle accidents. Hey, maybe throw in the contract somewhere that you shouldn't be riding motorcycles in the off season because obviously it's an issue. Hey, do what you want though. It's just he's a human being.
It's your world.
As long as you're not a Blue Jay, go do what you want. I don't really care. That's wild. Did we miss anyone?
I think one of the weird ones was Kenley Jansen goes to the Braves for a 1-year deal.
A lot of money.
Yeah, 16. Yeah, 16 mil.
That's wild. It's gonna be weird to see him not as a Dodger. There's a lot of guys that are just like, damn, that guy's not gonna be with that team anymore.
Soler was an interesting one.
Where did he go?
Well, he went to the Marlins. Right? Did he play for the Marlins before? Am I wrong?
I don't know. There was a stretch there where I just didn't know where he went. He was like he was a Cub for a long time.
Yeah, the Cubs have made some interesting moves. Who was there was an international player who just got tons of money.
His last name is Suzuki, I think.
See,
oh my God,
I
knew his first name too.
Yeah. But he got 5 years. I know that. I don't know the term.
I'm really intrigued to see him come over here too, because
I'm always the Cubs.
Yeah, he went to the Cubs. I know that, but I just don't know
5
his first
years,
name.
85 million. Seiya. I could be doing it so wrong.
Seiya Suzuki. Yeah.
Seiya Suzuki. Okay.
Because it sounds like Hey Ya, the song, because someone made a parody of it using his name in it. I was trying to figure out what song. It was definitely Hey Ya. It's actually really well done. Yeah. So I'm really intrigued to see what he comes over and does. Like with him and Schwindel on first. I didn't know this. Frank Schwindel, in his little stint there with the Cubs, was on pace for 115 RBIs on the Cubs. Okay.
Nobody tell the Cubs that they're building a team.
Yeah. So hey, they got Seiya, they got Schwindel, they brought in Stroman. Hey, they could be okay. I don't think they're gonna compete.
They brought in
the Reds are bottoming out.
Givens. They brought in. They brought in some other names.
They'll be okay. The Reds are bottoming out in that division, so
they're
Daniel
not a worry. Daniel Norris was known for being kicked out of the Jays parking lot for sleeping living in his home and being called homeless, but pitching for the Jays.
That's so funny.
It might have been spring training, but
it was spring training. It was in Dunedin.
Yeah.
What else? That's nothing else very intriguing pops into mind. They announced that two things actually to do with the vaccines. A, players that are unvaccinated can't come play in Toronto, and they'll have to get put on the restricted list. So you're gonna know real quick who isn't vaccinated based on who shows up in Toronto.
Who.
And the other thing is that the Yankees currently can't play at home if they're unvaccinated, and it's very well known that Aaron Judge is not vaccinated. So Aaron Judge can't play 81 games as it currently sits, and he can't play the 10 games that they play in Toronto. So you're looking at a New York Yankees team that doesn't have Aaron Judge for the 91 games already before he even gets hurt. Because
this is reminiscent of Kyrie.
Yeah. Except at least Kyrie can stay healthy.
Yeah, but Kyrie just whatever. I just don't like.
I can't stand him.
Yeah,
thinks the fucking world's flat. What do you want?
I think it's so ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous.
Yep. Everything about that man's ridiculous. I can't stand him.
Whatever. I think that it's funny that they put these rules in place, and you really make people test how far they're willing to push their boundary. Especially in a sport like baseball. Like I get it. I guess that the social distancing is not 100% there. It's not like
it's outside. It is kind of weird that they did it, but
outside you kind of stand alone at home plate, but you don't.
Hey, I'm not opposed to it because I know that the Jays are vaccinated because they had to be to come play here, which was great. So I'm not worried about anyone not being able to play for the Blue Jays, and I'm very excited to see guys not be able to play against the Blue Jays. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun.
You're just excited Aaron Judge is not.
Oh, no Aaron Judge. Like this is all rumors, so I don't want to like.
No, they can't play at home, but they can play on the road. Or they can play at home.
They can't play at home, and they can play on the road as long as it's not in Toronto.
Not in Toronto.
Yeah, and so apparently, like, take this with a grain of salt because it's
you know what's going to suck is that people are going to say that the pandemic is getting in the way and Toronto's only winning because the players are allowed to play half the games.
Toronto didn't get to play at home for 2 years. Kiss my ass. That's all.
You know what they should do? They should say you can wear a mask, double mask, and that's it. You go up there every single time, and you're not allowed to have it off.
They're playing in burkas. No, take this with a grain of salt, but I know Judge. Apparently, Giancarlo Stanton isn't vaccinated. And there was one more name. I apparently Anthony Rizzo too. But you got to think they don't sign.
I would hold off
if he's not.
Hold off on exactly. I would hold off on the money.
Like I think they would have done their due diligence and said, "Hey, are you vaccinated yet? Because if not, we can't sign you." There's no way you commit that kind of money to him if he's not vaccinated, right?
But do you pay it if he doesn't play though? Like I don't think you pay.
Like, they don't get paid. Yeah, but you're not going to sign a guy. You can only play 81 games right off the hop. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me.
Maybe not this year. Then maybe it goes to more of a 4-year next year.
Yeah.
But you also want to sign him. What are MLB's rules about him not being signed? Like, you don't want to lose him also, right? Like you've now given away your entire first base. Every option you had there, Luke Voigt is gone. I'm not really sure who they're.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. It's interesting.
You're kind of all in for Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to move on to football because there's a lot of football news to get to.
Is it weird that I'm frustrated by football?
Yeah, I get it. First and foremost, Tom Brady's back. I don't think that happened before the last podcast.
40 days.
That's so funny.
Retirement.
Brett Favre round 2.
I'm gonna say that. When I want a 4-day vacation, I'm gonna retire. Yeah,
that's hilarious. He literally spent 40 days at home with his wife and said, "Fuck this, I can't do this." And went back to work.
I heard so many things that was like, I wonder how many times his son said, like, I need a sandwich before he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go throw a football again."
Somebody said he got so tired of helping the kids with math homework that he decided getting hit by the biggest men on the planet was a better idea. And I think that's great.
I'd rather lose brain cells than use brain cells.
You'd rather be the most hit man on the game than listen to your children whine. Like, so funny.
Good
awesome.
For him.
Hey, the Bucs are going to be good again. I'm so excited that he's back. Football's not the same without him. I don't even like him, but football's not the same without him.
It was funny because I didn't really picture a world without him because I didn't feel it was true.
No, it just even when he finally retires, it's not going to be retired.
I think 40 days. I thought maybe a season.
Yeah,
but 40 days,
like a Rob Gronkowski thing.
Yeah, or even like come back after like 4 games, like they're in trouble.
Yeah,
we've seen what you can do with 4 games off.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so that happened. I don't know where to start.
Chris Godwin stayed. Well, if you want to go with that team, Chris Godwin stayed. I think that the most intriguing team, maybe we'll just do overall, like most intriguing team, the Chargers, absolutely.
Bringing in Khalil Mack was huge.
Yeah. Signing J.C. Jackson when the Patriots didn't.
Re-signing Mike Williams to that deal seems like a mistake.
They have a lot of
money.
They have a lot of faith in him. Guy. And I think at the time there weren't a lot of wide receivers that were sitting there. Like Julio Jones being cut was kind of unexpected for me. And I think that's where, you needed to secure somebody. And maybe now you can do the same with Julio. If you want to run a 3, because they're a throwing team. There's no doubt.
Oh, absolutely. Justin Herbert likes to throw the ball.
Yeah, he is a slinger. So you need to just kind of cater to that. If you can have Julio Jones.
Yep. I think that team's going to be better. I don't think they got worse and they only got better.
No, they got way better. Yeah. Their whole defensive line is ridiculously scary now, right? You have Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack coming at you.
Yeah, Jesus.
I wish you the best.
Speaking of defensive lines, the Bills brought in Von Miller for 6 years.
Oh, buddy. I love that.
Hey,
good for them.
I think that's going to be great for the Bills. Don't get me wrong, but 6 years seems like a long time for Von Miller. Yeah. No way he plays that contract out.
I know. There were a lot of crazy trade. Russell Wilson
Russell
goes
Wilson,
to Denver. For like the whole team, basically. I don't know what Denver's going to do around him, but they got Russell Wilson.
They don't actually have anyone for him to throw to anymore because they all got traded to Seattle, but at least he's there.
And then the by far the craziest one, Davante Adams, just see you later, Green Bay.
What the actual hell are the Green Bay Packers doing right now? You go and you re-sign your franchise quarterback to big money, and then you go and you take his only weapon and you say goodbye. You get nothing for him.
Yeah, there was nothing left.
Who the hell is he throwing the ball to? I made that. I asked that question in one of my group chats, and someone goes, "The other team." I'm like, well, honestly, though, like, who the hell is Aaron Rodgers supposed to throw the ball to? They don't have Lazard anymore. Apparently, he's gone. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, he's gone. You're literally left with Randall Cobb.
You know what though? Aaron Rodgers is the highest paid quarterback, so that's. I think last year he gave up for sure. He gave up on all hopes of a championship, and
he just accepted that they're going to suck. That's why he came back. Apparently, he knew Davante Adams was going elsewhere when he signed the deal. What?
They had already talked about it?
Yeah.
Do you think there was?
He knew. They told him that he's going back to Oakland or to Oakland.
I think there was. I'm going to guess hurt feelings. I'm going to guess that this is kind of what they meant no matter what about the last dance type of deal. Like no matter who,
it's gone. The team's
no matter what, one of us will be done for sure. You know, if they took the time to mend the relationship with Aaron Rodgers, you could easily see Davante Adams being upset that they didn't take any time to do that with him. And why would you not pay him as well, right? Like that to me, this man is arguably in the top three. Like he's
probably the best receiver in football. I don't really know who else is on his level. I don't like him, but I think he's probably the best receiver in football.
Yeah.
Like I know what's his name there? The buddy with the weird hair. Never dropped anything for years.
DeAndre
Hopkins, thank you.
DeAndre Hopkins.
He was competing with Davante Adams. Not last year. Last year he wasn't very good. So I think the title is his, and you just gave him away for a couple firsts. Didn't get any receivers back.
No, it's a real question. I don't get. It's almost like a Rockies move. Like I
just don't get it.
You have some additions, but you have some subtractions that make you the same but worse. Worse. It makes you worse.
It makes you worse. Hey, if you want to blow it up and tank and give Jordan Love some time, okay. But if you're paying Aaron Rodgers the most money any quarterback's going to get,
to be honest with you,
to hand the ball off to Aaron Jones,
I think Jordan Love has shown the door, and maybe that's where you get your wide receiving piece. But you do not get a Davante Adams at any point for Jordan Love and something.
No, they're only going to get worse. You don't have
are any of the picks this year? Are they this year picks?
I don't even know. I didn't even look at it, but the only I can see getting rid of Davante Adams if you get something back, and you have your depth receivers still. Their depth receivers are gone. They just took their entire receiving core and said goodbye. We don't need you. We're just going to run the ball with the best quarterback in the game. What are we doing? I'm just mind blown. I'm so glad I don't like the Packers today.
Yeah, that team is just will never stupid. Bet on.
I feel so bad for my brother.
You know what was crazy before all these trades happened? We bet on the Chargers just because their odds were like whatever, and then all of a sudden they made these signings, these trades, and
they're gonna be good.
The payout could be absolutely huge.
Yeah. What else happened? The Rams re-signed Stafford. They also brought in a receiver that I can't remember. Allen Robinson, thank you. So that was neat. They're going to be good again. We might as well get to it because there's no way of avoiding it anymore. Deshaun Watson went to the Browns. Now, I have my own opinions of Deshaun Watson, and they're not good. But strictly football moves is a great trade.
Why wouldn't they have paid him $222 million so that he can give away
all of it,
$1 million a piece?
Yeah.
For every case that he loses.
Now, if this was player A with Deshaun Watson's stats, this would be a phenomenal football move for the Cleveland Browns because they needed a quarterback. Deshaun Watson is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm not going to deny that. He is a phenomenal football player, but he is a dog shit human being. and he is openly a dog shit human being because he still thinks that he did nothing wrong.
He's a non-apologetic dog shit human, and that's what makes him even worse.
Like, it's just there's 22 women, my man. Like, you can try and give me the bullshit of like, oh, it didn't happen or it was being misconstrued. Like, you can give me the Trevor Bauer argument when it's one. And then like I still think you're a piece of trash.
It's funny. Do you know who supported him?
Trevor Bauer. And I'm like, fuck you. And the horse you rode in on, because that's just terrible. Like, obviously, I think we can talk about Bauer in a second, but like Deshaun Watson, like there's 22 of them. Something happened, dude. You can't just go out and act like, oh, the truth was found. Bullshit. You extorted the court system and you got found not guilty. You didn't get found innocent. You got found not guilty because you can't prove that. It's really hard to do. And it happens to a lot of women, and it's a garbage justice system. It sucks. It is what it is. Yeah, he's a shit human. It's plain and simple.
It's a money system, so it's less about the actual outcome and more about the money. That's involved. So yeah, this just doesn't. It's not a good football trade at all because of everything that's with it. You don't do that. It's the same thing as when Montreal drafted, the questionable player, and immediately there was backlash. Like, now, how do you run him out there? How do you actually have him as the face of your organization?
I just see, if any team was going to do it, it's the Browns, because the Browns already have Kareem Hunt and they made peace with that. And
I guess so.
There was video evidence of that one. What happened.
Huge video evidence.
Deshaun Watson, like, hey, if you really want to be a dickhead about this whole thing, you could say, yeah, he got found not guilty of all his charges. He's an innocent man. I think you're a piece of shit for saying it, but you can do it. And especially if you're a GM in the NFL where he hasn't been suspended and he's not going to miss time this year, then you could go, hey, we might as well. It's going to make us a better football team. They've already accepted that they're scumbags. They've already signed Kareem Hunt, and they've accepted that they're a shitty group of people, which is fine. It is what it is. And they brought in a football player that's going to make them a hell of a lot better. I think it's a shitbag move, and I'm very disappointed in the Cleveland Browns for doing it. Plain and simple. No, they don't care what I think. And honestly, they're not even going to lose business over this, because like people are still going to show up to watch the Cleveland Browns, especially come week 15, 16 when they're battling for that playoff spot and they make it into the playoffs. Like, they're going to be a good team. They're like, they got Amari Cooper too, so they've got more receivers to throw to. They've got Deshaun Watson, who's the most dynamic quarterback in the world. Too. Yeah, they're going to be really good. Dude, like, this move makes the Cleveland Browns a damn good football team. Don't get me wrong.
I forget that? Why was that the most under the radar move?
Quietly, the Cowboys just let him go for like nothing. They're just like, yeah, it's fine. They bought him out.
They needed money.
They did lose Jarvis Landry, but I don't think Jarvis Landry was a difference maker anymore. He just wasn't good.
Jarvis Landry wanted out though. Yeah, he was not.
I don't know. I'm like, the Browns have been my second team since they went 0-16. I hopped on that bandwagon and said, let's go. Let's ride these guys until they become a good team. And they became a good team. And I'm starting to think I might jump off of that bandwagon, because that's just, you don't do that, man. Like, show some respect. Speaking of not showing respect, Trevor Bauer. Hey, what he did it. Like, there's no denying he did the things that the girl said he did. I don't think he denies it. I think if you walked up to him off the record and asked him in person, he would tell you he did the things that he did. Unfortunately, there's enough evidence there to make it look like it was consensual, which is where that girl loses in court. But that guy will always be a dog shit human being. And then that it is what it is. Now, you can save face by just shutting your fucking mouth and going and doing your job. But Trevor Bauer doesn't have that ability. Trevor Bauer is a gigantic piece of shit who's defending other gigantic pieces of shit. Like the tweet he made saying like, oh, congratulations, Deshaun Watson, for it was like basically like, oh, the truth coming forward and you getting what you deserve. It's like, fuck you, man. Like, no, what he deserves is to get his fucking teeth knocked through the back of his head. Like,
that's a real public point of view. That really just makes a statement. It's so bad.
You're just showing your character, and it's not good.
But social media for me was the worst thing that ever came for these guys, because they're no longer just judged on
the way they play on the field.
Nobody should ever have control of their own account. Just make it dumb.
No. Everybody needs their own PR person to run their account. Just stupid. That's just bonehead.
That should be in Scott Boris's contracts every single time that I run the accounts.
I used to think Trevor Bauer was like the best thing for baseball because of it. Because like, hey, before
his YouTube stuff was
so
good.
It was so good, like to grow the game. Now anything he posts is it's so harmful for the game of baseball.
Batman was right. You either die a hero
or live
long enough to see yourself become the villain. We watched that with everybody, and I hate it.
Yeah, it's just fuck.
I hate it.
What an absolute! I hope he gets suspended for like 3 seasons.
He was the guy that busted his finger up because he was playing with a drone and still tried to pitch. And that was his first impression. And then he was the guy that threw the ball over the wall when he was frustrated. And then he was the guy that
he was a character, and like he was weird. He's always been weird. We knew that, but he was a character. Now he's just like transitioned into this trash bag human.
Yeah, and it's just lost its way for me.
It's awful. There's like a very few amount of people that I would just gladly punch in the face with dealing with the repercussions, no issue. He's one of them. And I'd tell him to his face, and he'd have some stupid remark about it too. But like, he's not intelligent enough to fucking come up with anything. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy with a 10-foot pole, and Desean Watson, both of them. The Browns are going to be great.
Right to him.
Browns are going to be great. Fuck.
I hope they're not.
I don't see a world where they're not, man. They've got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, which is just disgusting.
I know you, but you only have Amari Cooper to throw to. You just cut Austin Hooper. You have a lot of question marks around that, and their defense is still the Browns' defense. You know, there's only one side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean the defense wasn't really their problem last year, though.
Because you have
Miles their Garrett. Offense. It was Baker Mayfield was the problem last year because he was a walking ball of injuries. I don't even think Baker Mayfield's a bad quarterback. He just was never healthy.
I can't believe they started that relationship so fast.
Hey, I would be more than thrilled to see him come to the Carolina Panthers. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a decent quarterback, and I think he could do wonders in Carolina because they have a damn good offense, but no quarterback. I think he would do a great job in Carolina. I don't have any ill will towards Baker Mayfield at all. I hope he goes and succeeds somewhere because the message he put out to Cleveland too was phenomenal, and I loved every bit of it. And I feel really bad for
he is passionate about the game. You'll
so good. So, I really like Baker Mayfield, and I hope he finds success somewhere. And I don't mind if it's Deshaun
finds none.
And I hope Desean breaks both his legs.
Yep. I hope that he gets run over.
I hope he gets absolutely lit up by TJ Watt in game 1. And I hope TJ Watt knocks his helmet off and beats him.
I could not agree more. I hope he goes right for his head.
I hope Myles Garrett whips his ass with his own helmet.
Serve the year suspension. Yeah, serve the year suspension. Who cares?
Yeah. Exactly. Anything else happening? I feel like a lot happened in football, but we got most of the.
There's just like random, like I think just LA has been making just moves to kind of. I think Matt Stafford got a bigger contract as well. Odell, I believe, is there.
Juju went to the Chiefs.
Yeah,
great because I don't like the Chiefs and I don't like Juju, and I'm starting to like the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is very bad.
Mitchell Trubisky just went there.
Yeah,
for 2 years.
I'm just like, if they get rid of Mason Rudolph, I won't have very many reasons to hate the Steelers anymore. Like,
because I really do like TJ Watt.
I love TJ Watt.
I really like Minkah
Fitzpatrick. I love Najee. He's an incredible person.
Najee
I love Pat Freiermuth. Like, he's such an underrated piece. I don't like Chase Claypool, but he's Canadian, so like you kind of got to root for him a little bit. Mike Tomlin, man, I there's no world where you can hate Mike Tomlin.
No, I think is it
Deontay Johnson? Thank you. Yes, I love Deontay. Like that team
haven't there
right
only
now,
been like
super
3
likable
coaches
guys
in Steelers history or 2 coaches? Like it's been like
which is a reason why I can't just like that team. Like they're so goddamn loyal to their guys. They also have the only black coach in the NFL. Like they're doing so many things right. And they have Mason Rudolph on top of it. I'm like, fuck.
I agree.
If they got rid of Ben, Ben's gone. Thank God. All they got to do is get rid of Mason.
It's hard to hate them.
Yeah. They're getting harder and harder. I'm liking that team more and more, and I despise that team with a passion. But I might be jumping on. Maybe.
Where's the jersey? We'll have to get some.
I don't know if I can. Maybe a Najee Harris jersey. Maybe. That'd be the only one.
I would get a Watt jersey in a second.
Yeah. Maybe
it's too nice not to. I always hope JJ Watt went there.
Yeah, that'd be cool. See the brothers play together.
That was always a hope because he would have been dynamite, especially when they got rid of Bud Dupree and they needed somebody else on that side.
So the Watson trade just became official.
Yeah,
and the Browns defend decision to add QB. Okay, I got to read this. Where does it say? The Browns are taking heat. We spent a tremendous amount of time exploring and investigating the opportunity to trade for Deshaun Watson. We are acutely aware and empathetic to the highly personal sentiments expressed about this decision. Our team's comprehensive evaluation process was of utmost importance due to the sensitive nature of this situation and the complex factors involved. We also understand there are still some legal proceedings that are ongoing, and we will respect due process. In our conversation, Desean detailed his commitment to leading our team. He understands and embraces the hard work needed to build both his name in the community and on the field. We are confident in Desean and excited about moving forward with him as our quarterback and supporting his genuine and determined efforts.
Tired.
Oh my God, I'm gonna throw
up.
I'm
gonna crying throw up because of how bad that is.
I'm gonna throw up.
Yeah, I can't deal with
that. So we'll just transition right the hell out of football because that's a terrible note to leave it on. So the Bruins brought in Hampus Lindholm
and just
8-year extension.
I fucking love it. Go Boston. Go Boston, go Florida, go everybody else but Toronto. Because
the best thing Kyle Dubas can do for himself right now is fucking nothing.
Why?
Because the deals that are getting thrown out are horrendous.
Okay.
That Brandon Hagel deal, bro. Oh
I'll take it any day of the week. We got 2 NHL players. We got 2 future NHL players.
That is terrible.
Yeah.
2 firsts and 2 legitimate prospects for a kid that, like, who the hell knows?
And 2 fourths.
Oh my God. Oh my God, that's bad. And then Ben Sherratt goes for a first and a third or a fourth or whatever.
The one to
that's
me
just
that's
awful.
That's questionable is Claude Giroux flies off to Florida.
Oh, was it just Owen Tippett or was there more to that?
Owen Tippett and draft picks, but they're really late draft picks. You know, I don't think that they were within the next like year or two.
Good.
You know,
I like Owen Tippett.
Claude Giroux could be better though.
Yeah, you're right, but it's only a 1-year deal, and he'll be back in Philly next year.
Gritty had a real.
Oh, that broke my heart, man. I've never been like that upset about a mascot posting a video in my life, but just watching the interactions between the two and his kid, I'm like, oh my God.
I know.
Like it's 3 a.m. and I've got tears streaming down my face. What the hell?
He sends him on the plane.
Yeah, he's like holding his hand. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. It's just heartbreaking. If you haven't seen it yet, it's on my Twitter. If for anyone listening, it's heartbreaking.
Please,
oh my God.
Please go back. That's great. I love that. Do the Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah.
Go win something and then come back.
I mean, maybe don't do the Aroldis Chapman, but like do what he did.
No, do that. Like
don't be Aroldis Chapman.
No, don't be him.
No,
I think that the Bruins have always had a team that they've had control over. I think that's why Hampus Lindholm makes sense. I think that Anaheim is going to be an absolute wagon in about 3 years.
Yep. They gave him a lot. The one deal that I'm like, hey, I would have done that deal in the
Christian Kirk home run alert.
Alejandro Kirk?
Nope. Christian Kirk.
See, he switched foot. No, hey, Christian Kirk
signed. You know why? Because I'm trying to flip to it. Alejandro Kirk.
Did it? I meant to throw it on the TV, but I forgot to do that. No, it's okay. What was I saying? Something about hockey. Oh,
yeah, because I'm watching it. Fuck.
The one deal that I did really like was Josh Manson to Colorado for nothing.
That works out.
Nothing. What a great deal they got. Daryl Sutter had the best line of all time because they asked him about the playoffs and he goes, I don't know, but whoever plays Colorado is going to be a waste of 8 days. I'm like, you're so right, Daryl. It was hilarious. That was great. Yeah, that's the best
Colorado thing. Could have the team this year to make some noise.
Yeah. So they're gonna be fucking good. I'm so jealous.
They need to trade like that now. I think the Leafs kind of back themselves into a corner where a lot of the names
they're better off just turning off Kyle Dubas's phone.
No, I don't think so. Then you're haven't done anything, and
exactly. They didn't give up anything either. I'm not like I don't think there's a
tell me. Do you trust
Shalgren a little bit?
Trust
not really. Mrazek's better than what he's been, man. He's going through a bad stretch, but he's way better than what he's been. And Jack Campbell is great, but he's been hurt.
I don't think
once Jack Campbell's healthy.
I don't think we need to close the book on him yet, but I don't think he's NHL ready yet. I don't think that he's ready. Yeah, I don't think that Shalgren is ready to take this team anywhere. So
no, probably not. But I Jack Campbell still exists, and in 2 weeks when Jack Campbell's healthy again, I'm fine letting Jack Campbell run. And I don't want to make a
I
deal
want to
where you
ease
give
that
up
back in,
Matthew
though. Like, you
Knees.
can't just hop on that horse and say run the whole way.
Like, now the one thing, the story came out that the Leafs were in on Brandon Hagel and Marc-Andre Fleury. And it was for multiple firsts. Matthew Knies or Knees. I don't actually know how to say. I call him Knees, but and Peter Mrazek. And Leaf fans jumped all over that, like, oh, that's not worth it. There's no way he's worth that. The Blackhawks just got more than that for just Hagel. So don't tell me he's not worth that. That was absolutely a great deal for the Toronto Maple Leafs, but it didn't make sense.
Yeah, for me, that helped me then shift to a situation with Dallas that involved Braden Holtby and involved John Klingberg. Because if you were to have an opportunity,
I don't think Klingberg. I don't think they're making trades anymore. I don't think Dallas is in the trade market anymore.
No,
I think they might be.
Dallas is too in the middle. That's the thing.
They're
Dallas
too in the mix now.
It was too close.
There was a time when I think you could have got Klingberg.
I completely agree with that, but I think now, whatever, like getting Marc-Andre Fleury as a wild card, every single team that isn't named Pittsburgh. You know, if Pittsburgh were to do it, he's back. If Vegas were to do it, he's back. If any other team calls, you really are rolling the dice on it.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
apparently they didn't even get to the point of asking Fleury if he wanted to come to Toronto because
Toronto
backed
Bay
out.
came in. Tampa Bay understands it's now. They don't care. It's now.
Yeah. Who's pitching here? Oh, it's Julian.
And the only thing that's conditional is that it's a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay has not been a top 10 pick team in how long?
Yeah, so it'll be neat. It's a great deal for the Blackhawks.
I think they need more. But I think the Leafs going back, they need more. They need something more than this. This doesn't make them even feared anymore. You know, they got bullied by Nashville, man. Like bullied.
I particularly don't care.
Nashville.
Particularly don't care because there's nobody out there right now that I think is worth their price tag. Who's left, Brandon?
Then be a seller and get something.
Who's left that you think can help this team?
It's not about who's left. It's
who's left?
What can you swindle to get, right? Like I get it, there are names, but then you need to call one of those teams who's maybe just been on the fence and make one of those bigger moves.
Okay.
Right? Okay. If all the ones are off the table, if you're saying Dallas is off the table, absolutely. There are other teams who probably haven't thought about their goaltending, and then you need to kind of make them think, hey, this is what we can offer you. This is what we feel is best.
Who's available?
Well,
give me a name. If you have a name for me, I'm all ears. I just don't see anyone that's
at one point. But which position are we talking about? Where do you think?
I don't care anywhere.
I think goaltending is the biggest need.
All right, who's available?
I would
Jake Allen.
I hate Jake Allen.
Right. I'm not giving up assets for Jake Allen.
Yeah, I don't mind Simeon Varlamov. I don't mind Philip Grubauer.
Who are both? I wouldn't go with Grubauer this year.
They had this is the thing.
They've been. Hey, I love Gruby in Colorado, but like he is just awful. Varlamov, I would take the risk on. I don't mind Georgiev, but I don't see them selling the way people think they are. That doesn't make sense.
Selling like to that degree.
No,
it's very limited. Absolutely, there's very limited options out there. But then you have to get a little more creative.
And the options that are available are going to cost you 3 arms and 2 legs.
I'm not taking Martin Jones.
No. Like there's nobody out there that I'm very excited to bring in, and especially
not for 2 first prospects. Do you want to see a James Reimer reunion? Because he's he's not terrible.
No, he's not. So, and he dealt with Toronto pressure pretty well, so I don't like he can do it.
If you don't do anything, though, you're going to be back out.
You know what? I'm fine with that.
No, there's teams that are on the up and up. You will not be fine with that.
I'm so fine with it. I'm just like so uninvested in the Toronto Maple Leafs this year, and I think that might be why I don't really care. But like, I think the best thing they can do is nothing.
The wild card is a foregone conclusion, pretty much.
Yeah, you're in the playoffs. You're not dropping out of the playoffs.
is the highest team out of the playoffs at 67, and Toronto has 83.
You're not
unless you go on the terrible 5% run that Toronto went on.
It's not happening. It's not happening. They're gonna be a playoff team. I don't doubt that. And you're gonna get either Tampa or Florida in the first round. I don't really think there's any other options at this point. So it's gonna suck. You're gonna have to beat one of these
Boston,
teams.
Though I think you can get a Boston.
I don't think so. I don't think they can pass Tampa. That's the thing is Boston would have to both us and Boston would have to pass Tampa right now, right? Because Tampa's in the second spot.
Yeah.
We both have to pass Tampa, and I don't see that happening.
But Tampa's at 84, and Boston's only at 81. We're at 83.
How many games played?
Tampa, it has 61. We have 62.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so that's not too bad.
Boston has 62. You're all right there.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So maybe Boston. Okay, fine. So it's going to be Tampa, Florida, or Boston. And of those three, I'd happily play Florida right now. Like, I know Florida's getting better. Florida's dog shit in the playoffs. Like, that is like
Florida could have just lost their neck blood for the season too. So
that's two immovable objects.
I don't know how it was. It looked ugly. The hit or the
unstoppable
force, the injury.
Yeah,
looked tough,
buddy. I'm not that scared of Florida. I got to be honest with you.
Oh God,
I'm very scared. I don't ever want to play Tampa because Andrei Vasilevsky is unbelievable. Yep.
Philip Forsberg passed David Legwand for most goals in Predators history.
That was last night, right? I'm glad we could be a part of history. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Good for you.
I don't know. I don't see a deal going down. I don't see a deal that's worth it. Yeah. And
think
Kyle Dubas will find something. I know he's going to make a trade because he's really good at this, but he's also really bad at trade deadline deals.
I wouldn't have minded a Manson or a Lindholm.
Nope. Yep. They were very in on Hampus Lindholm, but the price tag was way too much. So it is what it is.
There's no doubt, but that's the cost of doing business right now.
Yeah, and I'm not in that business.
No.
Kyle Dubas has a terrible track record of deadline deals. So
yeah,
I'm okay if he puts the
contracts for sure. He's not. I don't think he's trade savvy. I think he's contract savvy. He's
really good at signing free agents. Really good.
Yeah, and don't really get me wrong. He brings
that Jack Campbell trade was fantastic. I think what they got
pieces to the team. Yeah.
The Foligno deal was stupid at the time. That didn't make sense. Who was the year before? Clifford. Clifford wouldn't make sense, but that brought us Jack Campbell, so it's fine. Muzzin was a good deal. I like Muzzin.
It wasn't a trade though, right? That was a
it was a trade. No, it was a trade. It was Muzzin and was it Muzzin and Jack? No, it was Clifford and Jack, right? Muzzin was on.
I thought it was Clifford and Jack.
Yeah, it's just I don't know.
Never mind.
He very clearly lost the Kadri deal. I think we can accept that. I don't think it's as bad as people think it is, but we definitely lost the Kadri.
It was just how uncommitted Tyson Barrie was from the very beginning, and that was what
he couldn't handle it.
But yeah, he didn't want to be there. He didn't even sell his home when he moved, and that kind of said right then and there, you don't even want to be in Toronto. And going to Edmonton was a shock.
I think he knew it was a 1-year deal, but yeah. So yeah, I would be more than happy if he just does nothing.
I get that. I think then you're going to be a first round exit.
That's fine. I'm used to it at this point. I'm not going to be any more hurt if the Leafs lose in the first round again. I am what I am.
I'm living the same day over and over and over.
Yeah. It's Groundhog Day, for God's sakes.
And over.
I think that's it.
I think that's good.
I don't think we have anything else to talk about.
Wow. Getting us to shut up. That's the trick.
I had a couple of things that I thought of throughout the week, but I forgot what they were. So, hey, we're done here. Thank you for listening. Sorry we've been gone for so long, and sorry if we talked your ear off.
You've now apologized at the beginning and the end of our podcast. So we're
this is what our podcast is. I'm sorry for having a podcast. Hopefully we catch you sometime this week. Yeah. As always, you can find us on Twitter at BNB_Brand and BNB_Brandon.
You can message us.
And the podcast, the podcast channel is at ABNB Pod, EHBNB Pod. You can follow us there on Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff. And check us out at theasports.com. It's linked in the description below. And we'll see you soon. Cheers.